we will see. And everybody is just observing now, and Putin is not doing much, probably because I don't know. He's probably saying, well, thinking about pros and cons about engaging in Belarus. And the same with the West, I think. The both of the Wests, the Washington West and Berlin, Brussels West, because what we have really is two Wests. So nobody is really engaging. We can, as Poland, we maybe will get many immigrants because Lukashenko is really defending his position by force, and he is punishing sometimes people for just seeing the manifestations, demonstrations. They are just bystanders, and he's punishing the bystanders. It's the terror policy par excellence, because that's exactly what Saddam Hussein was, for instance, doing in Iraq. When he was feeling that he is losing a little bit control over the people, he would give orders to the police, and the police would just pick one guy from the street, doing nothing wrong from the point of view of the government. They would pick him from the street and torture him for a couple of hours. Well, so that he wouldn't forget who is the Lord here, right? So it's a terror thing to keep people in terror, in fear. So I think it's from this immoral standpoint, makes even more sense to use force against bystanders than against demonstrators. They also, of course, use force against demonstrations, and demonstrations are far more peaceful than Ukrainian, for instance. There's no Maidan thing of Maidan riots or something like this. They are peaceful protesters and they are punished, but also the bystanders are punished, and I think it's the Hussein tactics to keep people in fear. Because who is the bystander? The bystander is really the undecided guy who is observing what the opposition people are doing. So he's maybe more dangerous to the regime. So from this immoral but rational point of view, it's good to beat up the bystander, and and to show, for instance, that the demonstrators cannot protect him. They cannot protect themselves. They cannot protect him. So it's a psychological game, as usually power and politics is. So the other thing is, we were believing including myself, that Minsk people are basically engaged into anti-Lukashenko fight. Why him? Why them? Because they are, well, more world-wise, because they are capital city people, and even if the internet is censored and so on, they get more touch with the West, for instance, broadly speaking, than the people from small villages or small towns, right? So that's the nature of things. It's typical for every nation. So we were assuming that they were inspired a little bit, but they are not pro-European. They are not. The nature of protests are more like, Lukashenko is not really Batka. He's not really a guy who is protecting the Belarusian people and their interests. And it's very interesting to see, and I saw a couple of films with typical Belarusians, common people, who were stating that Lukashenko is supposed to give some protection to the interests of the people, and he's, well, really basing all his support on this, that okay, I am a tyrant, but I am a patriotic tyrant. I am a tyrant who would protect you from Chinese aggressive fascist capitalism or something like this, right? Military capitalism. I don't know how to call even this aggressive state-run capitalism of China. It's not capitalism, it's more like a fascist economy or something like this. So you would be protected from the cheap products brought from China, from the competition, which is, well, it's impossible to compete with China.